Alright, so, yes, it's already torn apart. This is a 2012 Mercedes SLK 250. She had a massive oil leak coming from down there, which was above the starter, which sucked because, you know, it only leaked when it was running. So, pretty sure that was the issue right there, by the way. This is the gasket for the oil filter housing. It's right there. It sucks because bum 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 bum. The location is terrible. You have terrible access, and this coolant hose right here connects right there. Don't bother taking that one off because it goes through the housing and it will never get out of there. What you gotta do is take the clamp off of there and take the bolts out and then slide it backwards and then it'll drop. But all right, let's get underneath here. I'll show you where it goes and I'll show you how to reinstall this thing. Yay. Okay, underneath here, that's where your starter goes. This guy right here is also known to leak, so might as well replace it. It's just a crush washer, basically a drain plug. But the filter housing goes up here and up here. I know it's a terrible angle, but right here where my finger's at is a plastic coolant hose. There, you can see it without my hand in the way. And of course she's still dripping. I did this last night so I wouldn't have to get wet, but it's still dripping. I love physics and gravity and why they don't work half the time. Alright. But you feed her up. You kinda have to get it just right to get it past this intermediate shaft. Alright, I need 2 hands for this. I'll be back. Okay, so I fed her up. You can see there's that plastic coolant hose I was talking about. And again, I'm gonna have to put the camera down to do this, but feed it on there first. Get rid of the snap clip. Put a screw up. Put a hose clamp on there. But yeah, so feed her up, feed her onto the hose, and then line up the bolt holes. Because if not, she doesn't work. All right, and again, 2 hands, so I'll be back in a second. All right, so she popped on there. You kind of had to pull the hose back, put your hand underneath the intake, and then push forward. Weird angle, couldn't film it, sorry. But she's on there. I will put a hose clamp on there and tighten it down. But now we go back underneath, and there's 5 screws. They are, you can use a 3/8 or I think it's a T11, T12, but I'll show you where those are in a second. So there are 5. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is up there. And they are T12s or 3/8. A 10 will work, but a 3/8 is a little bit tighter. This top one, I can't get my longer one in there, so I got to use a short 3/8. But yeah, tighten all those down. And yes, there are O-rings inside of here, but I just replaced the main gasket because it was oil leaking. Coolant and oil were not mixing. So, all right, let's get back to reassembly. All right, they're all tightened up. There's this wiring harness right here. Goes back down. These are your O2 sensors, and I'm assuming oil level sensor. But you also got this plug up here. Goes in this plug up here. There it goes. And then this plug up here goes over here to this crankshaft position sensor. Or engine speed rotation sensor. There's a wiring harness clip up here on the housing. Just slides in. And then there's this one right here. It just slides onto the casing of the a block just to keep it out of the way of the starter. All right, and like I said, you're gonna go in here and do this, replace that 6 Allen head right there. Just pull it off, put a new crusher gasket in there. All right, I guess it's time to go do the starter. Yep. So I just happen to have it laying right here. And let me find the bolts for it. All right, found the bolts. Go up over to the intermediate again. It's awkward doing it with one arm, but you know. And she just slots right in. Bolt in, wiggle her around. Again, I need 2 hands to get this thing centered up because it keeps wanting to slip just a hair. All right, be back in 1 second. Now that those are secured, you have your starter signal wire. Goes up here onto the big stud. You know, pretty simple. It's got a 1/2 inch. You know, again. Why is this thing up like that? Yeah, she sits in there like that, and then you have your signal wire on the main bus. And it just goes up there. It's a 10. Super simple. Don't forget the little washers. And I usually spin them down about halfway just to make sure they're not going to bind and do something stupid. I want to put a tool on them and then I can't really feel them. Okay, so I'm going to secure those. I got these 3 wires over here, like I said. This guy goes right there. This guy goes right here. Come on. She clipped in. That guy kind of dangles right there, and they are for the O2 sensors on the other side. And yes, this transmission line was bent. It's not supposed to be here, it's actually supposed to be up here, but you know, things happen. Just push you through. Alright, 2 hands again. Alright, back up top. First things first, this stupid hose. It's got to be fed off of the... You can see it. Alright, there's a hose right here. You can kind of see it. But it feeds through there, through the belt, underneath the intake, all the way over to that hose right there. Why is it there? Why it needs to be there? I don't know, but it's annoying, so I had to pull it out of my way. Alright, I'm going to feed it through the front, hook it on the back, and we'll see how long this takes me. And it really doesn't connect to anything. You could pop that in, but again, this is fairly light, and I don't think it's actually vacuumed. I think it's just a fresh air duct, so, alright. Alright, so there's the hose, goes there, goes all the way across, goes back there, just slides right on. Now then, you can see the hose down there with the fresh clip. All the blue in there that was actually a coolant leak from that pipe, which I had to replace, which sucked. Okay, now we have the Airbox. Big open hole. That's where the computer sits. Why? Ask Mercedes. Feed the snout on there. Slides right in. That thing, a little snug down there. You got 3 things it clips into. Tighten this up, and you got your duct hose, which is right there. Computer goes on side right here. Make sure your clips are backwards. It does help if you put the computer in the right way. So, label out. Yeah, she slides right in there. 2 little clips on the side. And she pops right in. This one has to go on first. Make sure she's all the way back. She's all the way back. Slides in, closer. Yeah, I tuck this one over here just to get it out of my way. But she drapes right over, lays right like that. Just got a little push fit right there. These plugs are tucked right in here. They get hooked onto the side of the Airbox. They go into these 2. This guy comes over here. Pretty simple. Again, it's just hard to do this with one hand. Alright, hold on. Yeah. Those actually feed underneath this wire. Don't know why, but they do. That's it. This guy. Feed her in. Oh look, she's fit. Alright. Now come back over here. Reconnect my battery. Yeah. I need to find a 10. Battery's reconnected. Make sure everything's off the engine. Alright. Here. That's coming out of the torque converter that just fell. I'm looking for right here. Okay, that's coming out of the torque converter because I spilled all the coolant on top of it. Give it about 5 more seconds. Alright, cool. Think she's good to go. I just gotta clean her up, put the shields back on it, and I'm gonna change the oil again because when you pull that housing off, so the reason I'm changing the oil again is because when I pull that housing off, it's got water or coolant and oil inside of it, and yeah, I drained the coolant for a while, but as you saw, there's still stuff laying around, and I just don't want the contamination. Yeah, running it for a few seconds might hurt it, but I'm gonna drain it right now. But yeah, yay, she's patched. No more leak. Gonna go get some coolant and some oil and put her together, and she'll be done. Yay, good.